thing off? Or shit show?
Yeah, I think we probably should.
You know what I was thinking?
What?
That truck I bought with 33K that I talked to you guys we talked about last time. Did I tell you about this, right?
Yeah. The two-wheel drive. Yep.
I'm thinking more about giving away at the truck show. The more and more I think about it, the cooler I think it would be to give that away at the truck show. But here's a caveat. You throw in a front axle, a shack reversal,
Okay.
and then some other spare parts, and you just throw it in the bed and go, there you go.
Yeah, we should talk about that. I mean, are we still giving away a suspension kit?
If you're down.
I'm down.
I mean, I think people like that.
What if that went with the truck?
Well, it's a two-wheel drive. I guess you could.
But you said if you're throwing a front axle.
Throwing a front axle, we could make it a hodgepodge. I mean, I just think that'd be I've always wanted to give a truck away at our truck show. It's like, I was going to do it number 5 year. Yeah. I thought let's give a truck away. And I'm like, you know what? No, we just didn't find one. And I was late to the party on that one. And then this thing came along and we're into it. So, right. I'm like, man, we should I know we have plans to 4-wheel drive swap it and sell it. That's kind of what we want to see. Yeah. Do that. But I'm like, man, it'd be cool to give a truck like that. And then Kane's like, well, probably someone to win it and just sell it. I'm like, well, who cares? At least,
somebody, the guy who won the suspension last year. Yeah. We saw it on Marketplace.
Well, that's fine though, because things change, and if basically you're giving away money at that point. Yeah, that's how I look at it. Yeah, you know what? If someone wins a truck or whatever, or your suspension system at the truck show, who cares? Right.
No, I agree.
And they're gonna sell it. Yeah, it's like, do what you want with it.
Yeah, it just has. Then you get into. I mean, I guess it can't be any different than it's got to be some sort of raffle. It can't be a full gamble, for legal reasons.
Right. So you have to buy a ticket or a hat or something. That's why all those websites do that shit, right?
And they also make it to where if you want to submit you don't have to buy something to submit to win is part of it.
Is that for tax reasons, right? Is that what that is?
I think it's for legal reasons. Okay. So that you're not running an illegal lottery system.
Oh, because that's the last thing I'd want is an illegal lottery system.
But I think it'd be doable, and I think it'd be pretty cool.
What
if every vendor was able to pitch in figure out something?
I thought about that too. I thought about each vendor puts something in. Doesn't have to be extra expensive, just something. You know what I mean? And I think I kind of like the idea of I mean, we do the raffle, and we're doing a dirt bike every year now, and we're doing your guys' stuff and every vendor stuff on this raffle. But I just think it'd be kind of cool if you want to pre-reg, then your name goes into winning this truck, or if you want something like that. Right. Yeah. It's not like a super sought after truck in the sense that it's not a diesel. Excuse me, it's not 4-wheel drive. It's not extended cab or crew cab. It's pretty basic bitch, right? It's long bed, single cab, 460 truck, 2-wheel drive, XLT, fully loaded, blah, blah, blah for that year. But it's not anything that people are like, I'm, find it on Marketplace and I'll, give an arm and a leg for it. So it's not, I guess if it was a crew cab, diesel and had 33K, that's a different story.
That's a hard one to just give away too.
Right.
But honestly, the more I've been talking about it lately, is the more I drive my 460 truck, the more I because I don't have to tow very often. When I have to tow my dump trailer with skid steer in it or something, I'm like, gosh dang it, I wish my other truck was up and running.
Yeah, because 460 sucks when it comes to heavy towing.
Yeah, but it still gets the job done.
Oh, for sure.
I absolutely abuse that engine. I mean, I have cold started it and bounced it off the limiter.
Why would you even do that? Why would you bounce on the limiter cold started? What's the scenario that you have to do that? I'm just curious.
I was annoyed with my neighbor. Oh. I'm like, oh, you want to make some sound complaints? Let me make some, give you some reasons. Anyways,
John has a spicy side you guys don't know about. He plays this I'm just a nice guy, cool, calm, and collect. But when the shit is a fan, it goes. It
takes a lot to get there, and that's a long story behind that. But I mean, it doesn't happen often. Right. But I mean, all that to be, I've abused it hard, and every day that I need it fires right up. I will I'll abuse it, and then the next day fire it up and drive it over to the valley. Like, and it maintenance wise, I've had to put a distributor in it because it's got 198,000 miles.
Okay.
I've had one fuel pump go out, and that's it.
Okay, not bad.
Like a 7.3, the cost of maintenance for something, for that same truck is so much higher. Yeah. And the fuel mileage is really not that different.
I think it's a different. I mean, yes and no. I think anytime you put weight behind a 460 on any type of size rubber tire that's on besides stock, it seems to be pretty lackluster. But
oh yeah,
yeah. I just think like there's an ass for every seat or a seat for every ass, and it's like, hey, like Ryan Hausman and I always talk, like ripping around town and not like pulling weight and like, hey, I'm gonna hop in a truck and go rip around town and like a work truck or like whatever. I'd way rather drive a 460 than a diesel.
100%.
Diesels are fun and all, but like a 460 truck that like, even if it has like long tube headers or like the exhaust is cleaned up on it, it can still be an EEC system or a mass air or whatever. And they're just fun to drive around. They have tons of torque and plenty of power to rip around in. So it's like,
and in the wintertime, they actually warm up. If you're just
running, the heater actually like works fast soon enough that you're not freezing in the truck.
Yeah, you can go out and start the thing and have a defrosted windshield in 5 minutes versus a 7.3. It's like 15 minutes later and it's still just cold.
And you get inside and you're freezing your balls off just trying to like get from point A to point B.
And then if you have less than a 20-minute drive, just by the time you get to where you're going, all of a sudden you're going to start to feel some heat come out of that thing, and then you're going to shut it off.
You're gonna be done.
And then it cools down so fast by the time you come back out to it, you're starting over again.
It's like it doesn't matter anything. Like it's all diesels. It seems like it's obviously forever, right, before they get warm.
Oh yeah.
But I think that truck would be cool to give away. I keep on thinking, like, I know we just made a YouTube about it. Like, we're going to like put a straight axle it and make it 4-wheel drive. And I'm like, shit. Did I just open my mouth? Should we like? I keep on pondering this. Like that would really like be cool at the truck show. I don't know too many truck shows. Maybe other people do that they give away a vehicle.
Right. I don't know.
And I thought like this would be kind of cool. Like especially something that's 33,000 miles. That's like been babied its whole life. Its short lifespan.
Would it be? I mean, I guess this is all detail stuff. But if you didn't pre-register, could you at the show still put in for the giveaway of that?
I think so. I think that should be a thing. Like you pre-reg, you get a little bit cheaper, and then if you're at the show and you want to put in for it, it's a little bit more. Something like that.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that idea. So I guess on that note, we should start off.
We better talk about what this podcast is we're doing.
Yeah, you guys are listening to the Truckery podcast, and I am John with Carrot Customs.
I'm Devin with OBS Solutions. You're actually watching on video as well, and we're going to do a half-assed job on this. It's just how we roll, so I hope you enjoy it.
Well,
we'll try hard.
We're getting there. But the truck show is the OBS Truck Show in Salem or Brooks, Oregon.
August 17th and 18th, I believe, this year.
Yeah.
This will be our 6th or 7th year.
Yeah.
And so if you haven't heard about it, I know we talk about it quite often, and as we get closer to August, we'll start pumping it up. But it is the only OBS truck show in the world.
Yes.
And we draw in truck wise, I think we have it's skewed because people come and go, and we're roughly around 450 trucks, somewhere there.
I thought it was north of 5.
It was somewhere in there. So we draw some big numbers, and more importantly, it's not like a show. It's more of a cruise in, hang out, 2-day event. We have raffles with vendors and all that stuff. So, and what's cool about the Heritage Powerland Park, or I always mess that up, that's places like a museum. So if you've never been there, it's really cool because it's all with heavy equipment and old diesel, like I shouldn't say diesels, it's old steam tractors or steam dozers. Yeah, there's all kinds of cool. I think there's like 12 different museums. There's a semi-truck museum. It's pretty rad. So if
that belt-driven machine shop museum,
that is probably my favorite out of every. Well, hit and miss engine stuff's really good, but then the vintage semi-truck stuff's really cool too. So I'm always
there's so much good stuff to see.
It's really tough to know. Pick one of your favorites. Anyway, the venue's cool. It's in the grass. It's not on asphalt, so you're not like roasting your nuts off in the summertime. It's there's a lot of trees and canopies, so it's really cool. So if you haven't heard about our truck show, check it out. The Nobius truck show.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just an excuse for us all to get together.
Totally. Yeah, and it's a lot of fun.
And like I tell people all the time, and I reiterate this from time to time, it's not, you don't have to have a show truck to show up to this. We like to see work trucks, play trucks, thrashers, Broncos, of course. We did have a 4-wheel drive Econoline there at one time in like an 88 year series. So there's some gray area. Where we stop is Ford Rangers. Sorry.
What about like a first gen Explorer?
I think that's Ranger status. I'm sorry.
I know.
We got to stop there. I love to see like long travel desert Explorers and Rangers. You know what I mean? Like that I'm totally down for.
I mean, it's still 80s, 90s Fords.
That's true. I got my oldest, Shane, has a buddy, and this is kind of cool. This kid, like, Shane's like, Dad, this buddy of mine's been building this Ford Ranger in his garage and this and that. And, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. That's cool. And my kid's out of school, so it's his kid. But yet, this kid still has a younger brother that he drives to school. So I take Keegan to the same school every day. So I see this Ranger, and it's like long traveled out.
Nice.
It's badass. He's got all the rear ends all trussed in the back and all linked.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, the kid did a good job. I don't think his dad's like a super mechanic or anything. And this kid,
he did it himself?
Yeah, I think his dad helped him a little bit, but this kid like put the time in. It's still 4-wheel drive, but it's all like drooped out and kind of cool looking.
Is it a beam truck?
I can't get close enough to. Yes, it is beamed. It's not a straight axle. He still beamed it, so it's badass though. And I'm like, and it's that 91 era Ford Ranger where it's a flat headlight, but it's not like a recessed headlight like a bullnose.
Yep.
Those are my favorites.
Oh yeah.
That era Ranger is badass.
They're so cool.
I can't remember this kid's name all of a sudden, but anyway, I see it like every time I'm dropping off Keegan, the kid drops off his brother, and it's like not all pressed out. It looks like something you just go have a good time in, but yet he put work into it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is the epitome of what our truck show's about, is stuff like that. So maybe we should have him come, just like the one Ranger, because he's asked.
That would be cool.
The one Ranger. Okay, we'll let you in, just like be in the back over here. So
I mean, if you had to have a show truck to go, I wouldn't be able to go.
No, because show trucks are lame, dude. That whole like, oh, it's my show truck, or it's like, I only bring it out. I mean, trust me, I get it. There's, like I said, I shouldn't be judging, and I'm not. I just bring everything. If it's an OBS truck, fucking bring it.
Yeah.
Like,
totally.
I brought Box Knife that one year, our work truck, just put it out there.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Just go enjoy it.
It's about seeing a bunch of trucks that are slowly being less and less of them. At some point, you're not going to see any. I mean, like, they're just going to get harder and harder to find.
Yeah, they already are to a certain degree.
Yes, exactly. We're starting to see less and less of the premium ones and low mile ones or well taken ones, and we're seeing more shit boxes that need more love.
The clean ones are hard to find. I've like the other day, I've been contemplating shortening my Duramax truck to a short bed, and Grant found a short bed, clean one on Marketplace, locally, that ended up being literally like right down the street from here. And so I went and picked it up day before yesterday.
You did?
Yeah.
Just the box itself? For
just
the whole truck?
Box.
Okay.
And set it behind the shop.
What color is it?
Red.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's been sitting for a while, and it's been sitting like not supported, just like on the bottom. So like the lower portions have just a little bit of tweak. Something that
who cares?
Easy body. Because I mean, I would need it painted anyways. So
you know what you could do? You could wrap the whole truck.
No.
What?
Hey, to me, I prefer paint.
Nah, you could always like. You could do something cool with a wrap, I think. Like put custom on the side and like.
That's too gaudy. That's too much.
Just in the tailgate. All right, wrap it and just the tailgate.
Maybe.
Just something to promote your business but looks unique. Oh, yeah, do digital camouflage. No one does that. Do something like that.
Yeah, that would be so good.
Snow camo. No one does that. I love when you see like these Tesla trucks running around. They got wraps on them. You're like, wait a minute. I know it looks like a fucking trash can, but it's not the stainless color of a Tesla. You're like, oh, it's a wrap Tesla.
Yeah.
You got me. Damn it, you shenanigans. Oh,
I don't think we can go a whole episode without you bashing on Tesla trucks.
Fucking hate them. I fucking hate them. I like literally drove over like 97 and you look down, there's a Tesla dealer on your right.
Oh, yeah.
Back, and it's like, I was like, oh, it's a trash can. There's another one. Like, oh, it's a Tesla dealer.
Yeah.
I think it frustrates me because like Elon Musk, doing great things.
Yeah.
Seriously, you can't fucking make a truck look like a truck. Like at least the Rivian people like pulled that off and it looks halfway decent. But like you went like, hey, my cars look like this, which some of them look pretty good.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Then you went truck, total like, was there any like design guys working on that. Even his rockets look somewhat like something decent.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he's so willing to, just do really off the wall things. He's like, well, I'm just gonna go crazy with this, and like it's not gonna look like a normal design vehicle.
I guess. I mean, I still find it interesting, but hey, we better get off that topic because we'll spend hours on that shit, which you already beat up multiple times.
Oh yeah.
So we're going to talk about today the topic that John and I were talking about, and Kenny and I talk about it, and Oscar and I talk about it: wheels and tires.
Wheels and tires.
It's a ongoing topic that, like, Kenny and I have spent hours on the internet, which we should have been. We're supposed to be working, and we're like, check out this wheel I just found, and check out this like manufacturer that starts making wheels, or
right,
all these different people that make all these companies make wheels, and then they come out with something new the year after that, and the year after that, you're like, oh shit, that looks good, and the manufacturers that started out like with derpy styles and stuff, you're actually like, okay, they're starting to really like pull it together.
Yeah,
Battleborn's a company that I think their shit looks rad.
Yeah, it's really. I really, really like it.
So I brought this topic up because when we go to put a truck together, like, hey, especially one of our marketing trucks, and we're like, hey, Devin's got this stupid idea of like, let's do, like, for instance, the blue truck, right? Like,
right.
How that all of our trucks start with, the first thing we pick is wheels.
See, but on the blue truck, you started with a different pair of wheels.
We did, but it had to be a weld wheel.
Yeah.
But like, so many vehicles that we put together, it always starts with a wheel and tire size and style, and then you go from there, like, what's it going to look like, what our goal is, and stuff like that.
Yep.
And so a Bronco, for instance, we're like, hey, it needs to be a little off-roady, but we're not going to like really thrash it hard, but like, what's out there for a wheel that looks cool minus a weld, which we're just idiots when it comes to that because we have the TISM. And you're like, hey, we want a wheel that's like newer, modern, but yet takes a beating. And then that's how we did the KMCs, right?
Yeah, and having those polished out was really one of my favorites.
That was out of pure accident, but yes, thank you. It's supposed to be we ordered them black, right? They came black, those KMCs, and the reason was because they were on a closeout through our distributor.
Oh, so it was like, oh, nice.
Well, we had a black Bronco. We were gonna make a wheeler, like make a rough, like, okay, it's gonna be rough, great.
Right.
And so then we like found that Eddie Bauer, and we're like, oh, we gotta keep the Eddie Bauer and kick the black one to the curb.
Yeah,
it was a little bit roughed out.
I remember that.
Right?
Now. Yeah.
The one that Ben Palmer found for me.
Yes.
And we got it. And it was like, dude, this thing's harsh. So anyway, that's how we like. Well, okay, we got a set of KMCs that are black. It's not gonna look good on that. So that's why we had them stripped and polished, right? Which probably cost more than if we just bought a set that were already the raw.
Yeah, but they still just look so good.
Hard to keep clean, but that's why we're going to talk about wheels and tires, because I feel like that's for us, or for me especially, that's how a project starts. I don't call them builds. How a project starts for me in my brain and Kenny's. Okay, I got this truck. We found it. Blah blah blah. What wheel and tire are we going to pick for this thing? And then that'll project where we go with it.
Right.
That's how we kind of go with it.
No, I mean, it makes sense.
So the first thing I ask a customer when they bring their truck in, and they go, hey, I want to do all the suspension stuff. I'm like, okay. And they're asking what size or what height or what type. I'm like, well, what do you want to run for a wheel and tire? Are you doing a 37? Are you doing a 35? Do you want rubber bands? Do you want like some meat on the tire? I hope you want meat on the tire, dude. No rubber bands. Do you want like super wide boys? Are we talking like 14 wides where it drives like shit? Or do you want something like a 12 or a 10? That's how it starts.
Totally.
So we're going to hit the Google, and we're going to Google wheel manufacturers real quick. And we're going to look up what wheel manufacturers are out there and how many different ones are there and who's making cool shit. And obviously, I'm sorry, John, what's that?
Just Googling wheel manufacturers might be a challenge, but what were you going to say?
Well, let's just do the basics. Let's just go through like KMCs, for instance. But what I was going to say is John, myself, Kenny, Oscar, Tanner, we're all nerds for the weld game, right? The weld game is the shit.
Yes.
But the problem with the weld game is if you have a truck and you want to somewhat drive it, welds are a vintage wheel. And some of them crack out. Some of them have problems where someone maybe left the lug nuts loose and they weldered out where they bolt up.
Right.
There's all kinds of problems with vintage wheels.
And like, I'm not going to have welds on my truck and drive it in the wintertime.
Right.
Where there's like the cinder rock on the road or mag sulfate. And I don't want to go off road
on a weld wheel.
On a weld
That
wheel.
you paid to get polished, or you polished yourself and you did all that. I know Kenny told me a story. One of his buddies' dad's an old school Les Schwab guy.
Yeah.
Les Schwab is a company here in the Pacific Northwest, parts of California, and they're a tire shop.
Yeah.
Massive.
Yep.
Well, back in the days of the welds, this guy was a general manager at one of the Schwabs, and so he'd always have welds on his truck. So Kenny's like, "How did you keep your welds looking good?" He goes, "Well, every night I got home, I'd have a bucket full of water and like a real soft, like not harsh soap." He said he would wash his wheels every night when he got home in the wintertime.
That takes some serious dedication.
Right. So every night you pull in pull up to your house and you like go out there and just wash them real quick, rinse them off.
Yeah. I don't have that in me.
Not too many people do. I don't think I could do that every single time I wash or I drive my truck.
Yeah. That's just, that would be a lot.
Yeah.
And I know there's guys that run them all winter long and then they just repolish them.
There's a lot of people that run all kinds of polished wheels and then just like, even in the valley or over here would be tough. Over here would be really tough.
Yeah.
Valley's not so bad, but over here would be really rough.
It's just the mag sulfate.
It just takes it out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Especially a soft aluminum wheel. Like it doesn't rust things, but it just like really oxidizes the finish. And then you just have to repolish it. And, when you wash a rig over here, because we don't use salt, but we use the red cinder.
Okay. On the roads?
Yeah, it's like fine rock, gravelly. Everything gets filled with that. So even I don't like washing the paint on cars because that little bit of red cinder can get in like a brush or something. And then you can scratch, I don't know. It's one of those things we deal with.
Well, let's look up, you got this on the big screen here, and obviously, let's look up KMC wheels and see what they have for a wheel that you and I would both agree on here. And let's just go over this stuff real quick, because my conversation was like, beadlock, okay, so I can tell you right now, beadlocks on your daily driver can sometimes suck.
Right.
They lose air. You got to recheck your beadlock every once in a while, right?
Yes.
So that's something I've experienced on my Bronco. We did a bead glue on them that helps with like damaged beads on tires or wheels. That seems to help, but there's nothing better looking than a KMC on a beadlock.
Yeah, I do.
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And fake beadlocks kind of suck, but yeah, I get their place.
Guaranteed OEM aggressive.
I just go up to wheels. No.
Well, I'm just like adding whatever.
The Goofy Tundra looks pretty good with the right wheel, tire, and a lift.
Oh yeah, right. I don't mind the new Tundra that much.
I didn't like the first ones where they had more of the what the Hulk Hogan look to him.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yes,
mustache.
How do I get Sure Fit, Spec Fit?
Oh yeah, do that. I probably have nothing for those.
It shows that they have nothing.
Oh, well that's good. Just go to wheels and maybe just go through categories of wheels and we just go.
That's not
right. No.
Sure they make. Okay, so off road.
Let's do the off road ones first.
Apparently, I have to
delete it. Yeah, because they don't make any wheels for a 96 F350. None. Zero. None. I mean, that's some decent looking wheels, right? I mean,
yeah.
So if you were going to put a truck together.
I have KMCs on a truck. I have these ones, the GRS.
That's right.
Yeah, they're on my crew cab short bed.
So that's actually not a bad price for wheel. Is that a real beadlock? Or?
No, it's fake beadlock, but you can get them in a real beadlock.
But like that wheel right there is a great wheel. So if you're watching this, great. If we're not, I'm gonna describe it to you. It's obviously, what would you call it? It's a raw aluminum that they put they put a clear over.
Yeah, it's like
no maintenance, right? Just washes easy, that kind of stuff.
Washes easy with a black like fake beadlock ring and the zinc coated hardware.
Which it looks like a good wheel that you could rock all winter long.
Oh yeah, summer. Yeah. I like that wheel a lot. I got the wrong offset on mine.
It's a little in.
Yeah, they're too far in, but
it
that's
looks
okay.
Good. It looks all right.
I'm not willing to. I think I'm going to sell them eventually, but I don't know. It's right now. I'm having to buy too many sets of wheels and tires, so swapping those ones out is not very high on my priority list.
Well, speaking of that, KMC I think makes a bunch of cool looking wheels, and yes, they will fit your our OBSs depending on what your style is. But the IMS one,
I like this one too.
that one really okay.
Maybe
it's not bad.
Which one were you looking at?
I like that IMS one. Like maybe you don't get in the copper bronze look, but maybe a raw aluminum if they have it. But that's kind of good looking wheel. They have a ton of good stuff. Now go up to the top where it's the real deal. Go back to wheels, and if you go to performance, that's when it gets real spicy. These are the cool guy wheels right here. Yeah. This is it right here, people. So like
the Grenade
is a classic right there. That's a good looking wheel.
But that's the crawl versus the desert. What is the difference there?
Well, I think the
beadlock ring looks different.
It does. I think the spokes look about the same. No, the spokes look. I bet that's a smaller wheel. That one you get a set all the way up to a 20. No, that one you can't too. Interesting.
It does look like it's got more meat around.
Yeah.
Like, the holes are smaller.
Oh, you're right. The beadlock looks heavier. That one looks heavier on the beadlock. Look at the material. You're right. It doesn't. That one looks like a thinner beadlock.
Little higher speed.
for all that mall crawling. Actually, the Impact Forge looks pretty good too.
Yeah, those look killer.
Dude, that is a good. There's your Riot beadlock. So that's a good description for you guys, or a good illustration for you guys. Like there are tons of other wheels out there that look pretty good rather than your fuels, right? Your basic Les Schwab, like we talked about.
Yeah.
Like, check out this, what's another Ion or one of those cheesy ones that come out of China, which these might come out of China too.
I mean, I'm guessing all of them do.
Probably. Wait, a better part of China. How's that?
Right. I mean,
I got mine in the bougie part of China. These were made there.
I like the, what am I saying? The, I think Battleborn wheels are like machined and made here in America.
Right. I think you're right.
And I like that a lot. Like, I believe KMC, Raceline, like we've pulled up here, and those other, like even Method, I think, they're all owned by Wheel Pros, aren't they?
I believe so. I don't know which one is or which one's not. I think everything's owned by Wheel Pros at this point.
Dude.
Pretty soon here, they're going to own us. Like Wheel Pros is buying everything. But Raceline makes some good looking wheels too, people.
Dude,
and they're
Raceline's really been coming up.
They have, and they like you don't have to get beadlocks with their stuff. Some of it's like simulated, some of it's real. I think I kind of dig it. The problem you're going to run into if you haven't experienced this already is that aftermarket wheel companies, modern day stuff, the center caps do not go deep enough at times. You have to call in special order adapters or whatever if you're rocking the OG axles and our OBSs. Now, if you're doing 05 stuff, or 99 stuff, 99 04 axles, then the caps will work. Well, most time you have to get them, either leave the caps off or you get extensions for the caps or a different generic cap.
The other thing that I like to do if I'm going to have the factory Sterling 10.25 rear axle is, as much as people hate them, I like to run like a 1.5 inch wheel spacer in the back.
Okay.
So that it brings the track width to the same as the front. And when you do that, you can usually fit that smaller cap on because there's not as much of the hub sticking out.
But the front's always still a pickle. Our front hubs stick out a ton still.
Right.
So that's always been a pickle.
Well, I've found that they don't come with caps that have a hole in them for manual locking hubs.
Can you imagine what vehicles nowadays have manual locking hubs, special order generic Super Duties?
I don't know.
That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Jeeps don't, like nothing Chrysler. That sounded serious. Like Chevrolet stuff, obviously they don't have like subs.
No, they haven't.
Actually, that's funny. Is that the only vehicle manufactured this days that actually have a real hub?
Ford?
Yeah.
Does Dodge?
No, heck no. Dodges are flanged.
Flanged. Okay.
They're alive. I mean, they're alive.
Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody has to do a free spin kit.
Yep. So Ford is the only one still rocking up because you can manually hub unlock and lock them.
Yeah.
Even with the vacuum actuator.
Yeah, but there's still a manual. You can get out and manually do it.
Isn't that crazy?
That is. No, it's really interesting. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either until just now. So that's why your manufacturers would only be rocking caps and caps that are closed.
Yeah.
So, but that's easy though. That's easy fix because all you do is take a Dremel. Or a lot of these things actually have the center of those caps that we found. Most of them we get, the centers are replaceable because they're how they manufacture them.
Oh yeah, you can do like a different.
Yeah, you just pop the center out. Yep, or different insert. So it is doable. But like Raceline stuff looks good. I actually like some of that stuff for smaller trucks. Oh, that wheel right there, the 88 Renegade. How many times do you see that in Marketplace and people are like, "Oh, I've got a weld wheel for sale."
Oh yeah.
You're like, "No, dude, that's not a weld
That's
wheel."
not a weld.
That happens you see that all the time. Or trucks for sale and like guy, like Kenny and I like used to motherfuck each other and go, "Look at this truck for sale. You should go buy it. It's got welds on it." Like, wait a minute. No, that's not.
Not quite.
And I think they were first made by Ultra. Or they had a wheel like that.
Yeah. Same with like the Rock Crusher.
Yes. Yeah, which is funny because Weld has a Rock Crusher.
Is it Rock or Stone?
Ooh. Stone Crusher. Yeah, Stone Crusher. Thank you. Which those bastards right there are trying to copy off that.
Totally. Everybody has. But Raceline, I think, does it best on that wheel.
Right. That's not a terrible looking wheel.
No, they're not.
If I was on
bad.
a budget, if I was
$200 each.
Right. If I was on a budget and I needed a wheel that looked kind of cool, and that wouldn't be terrible.
Yeah. No, it wouldn't be bad at all.
Even the black one looks good versus the cheesy chrome.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. No, I like them both. What about wheel size? What are you going for?
Well, it depends on what you're doing. Are you partying hard out in the woods like you are in the desert? Or are you like just like mall crawling and it's like a daily or a weekend to take the wife out and rip around?
I don't know. It just generally.
I'd say 17s.
That's where I'm at.
I would say 17s and maybe 20. Maybe a 20-inch wheel. But if you're doing a 20-inch wheel, you can't do 35s. Has to be 37s.
Right.
I think for me, because I'm old.
Yeah.
Older. Like I like rubber. Like
yes. Like some sort of tire.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't do the new kids like skinny shit. I don't understand that.
I don't either. I can't. And like running like a 30-inch wheel.
We're talking to you, Tanner Gormley.
Yeah.
We're talking about you. Yeah, I don't like, but you know what? I've said it before. What looks good to some doesn't look good to others, and vice versa. And you know, if I was like to talk to some guy that's like 70 years old, he would think 16s are the only size
Which
wheel.
you can't even fit on a lot of rigs.
Right. Like, or like, yeah. I mean, I think it just depends on the human. And as we evolve our taste in, as we go along with the truck scene or whatever, the vehicle scene,
right.
Tires, wheels will always be a controversial debate, right?
Yeah.
For me and you, 17s to 20s. I take that back. I take it back. There's some dualies that look really good on 22s.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
that's a whole different.
I mean, I was really against Cowboy Truck being on 22s. I was like, nope, not going to happen. 20 is it because I'm old and like I have that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
20s are it. Like I was that old guy in the yard
but
telling the kids get off the grass.
22s on it now, doesn't it?
But it's got 22s on 37s.
Yeah.
Which I don't, but it does look good. So, I mean, there are a place for it. There is a place for it.
And I would do bigger wheels on a 2-wheel drive, like lowered truck.
Well, that's different. We're talking 4-wheel drive. We should probably specify that.
And like,
even on slam stuff, like an OBS that's slammed in the weeds, 20s is where I draw the line. I think.
Oh, really?
Well, because I think the tires just lose less material.
Yeah. Yeah, it would kind of depend for me. I wouldn't go like full donk, but I would like potentially a staggered set of either 18s up front and 20s in the back, or 20s up front, 22s in the back.
Depending on what it is, yeah.
Yeah, and depending like how much power it's making. If I need to really put a serious tire on, I'm not going with that big of a wheel.
Did you ever see what a schwanger is?
No.
Paul Rutledge, we were at LST, and he's like,
should I look this up or no?
Yeah, not swinger, schwanger. I think that's how you say it. Man, I don't know.
What is it?
Okay, so it's like this, like, you know, like knockoffs, like a true knockoff, like race car shit, and then people started making them like with spokes. You saw them on like, you saw them on lowrider, Mexican lowriders.
Okay.
Well, then they, I don't know what culture it is that brought this out, but there's like an extension on the knockoff, their wire.
Oh.
And then they have a knockoff, so it like sticks out this far off the wheel. I thought they're called schwangers or something like that. Paul Rutledge was trying to tell me this.
Yeah, I just saw something. Wheel spoke extension.
I'm going to type it on my phone and not on this right here, what schwanger is, just to see what comes up.
Yeah.
I don't want to corrupt the interweb here.
That's not it. I saw somebody like get pulled over with those.
And they're like sticking way. Oh, I found it. I found a picture.
Found a picture. What do I go to?
I'm just going to tell you real quick here. It was TexanWireWheels.com.
Oh, yeah.
And that is it right there.
Yep.
That's it. Check this out. Okay, people, explain this to me. So if you're not watching, it's on a Cybertruck. That makes total sense.
Wow. Yeah, I don't understand the
what is you know what that's for? When Portland's rioting and like you need to get down I-5 and they're out there like blocking I-5, that's your perfect wheel right there. That's it.
That's very dangerous.
It's like someone took a blender, like a whisk blender, and stuck on the side of their wheel.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to what.
How do we get from 16.5s to that?
Yeah, I don't know. And how do you not catch them on things?
I would think it would be really tough to go into a parking area and not catch the car next to you.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you're not watching this, I looked up Schwanger wheels, right? And it was, Paul was trying to tell me this. And basically, it's a spoked wheel that then has the center hub extended out, like, looks like a foot.
Yeah.
And then you have a knockoff on it. So it's kind of like a blender that's sticking off your wheel. And you drive around that way. I don't even understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
How much are they? Are they expensive?
Oh, I bet they are.
Dude, I like it's like 15s. They can make it a 24-inch wheel.
Just look at the 22s.
Let's do this.
It seems more reasonable.
Yeah, we're modest that way. Sure. Holy shit. Is that per or is that for? That's one.
One wheel.
Okay, so what's the company here we're talking about? Texas Wire Wheel.
No, one equals one set of 4.
Okay.
So they're $4,100 for a set of those wheels. That's
it's a spicy dollar amount for. Well, although let's see, a JTX. No, not even a JTX would cost that much.
I mean, that's over $1,000 a wheel.
That is expensive. Go to the side pictures of it, so the side profile there, just so people can see what we're talking about. Well, that's not even that bad. Does it cost more for more extension?
Oh, I'm sure.
Is there a scroll down for like how far do you want your wheel to stick out? Because that one looks pretty modest compared to what we're seeing.
Here's the super spoke. A little further.
Oh, there you go. You know what we should do? If we had a Patreon account and we actually had some funds to this shit show we're running,
yeah,
we'd use that. Listen, this is a great idea. We'd use that. We'd buy listen to this. We'd buy a set of those fuckers, and then we put them on an OBS and take it and rally it out in the desert and see how well they hold up to real abuse.
My gosh,
wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, I don't think it would last long.
Oh, it could. It could if you keep the spokes tight.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Like, do you have to tighten the spokes on like you do your
No, because look, you can't even see them popping through.
I was hoping that was real.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping all the wires.
You're like, hey, there's a car show going on. I'm bringing my El Dorado out. Hold on a minute. I got to tighten up my spokes.
I wonder, yeah, how they, like, what the process is for making, even like, like the lowrider, like Mexican lowrider wheels that are tons of wire spokes. Like,
how do you clean that?
Well, cleaning and like, what's the manufacturing process?
Oh, that'd be interesting to know.
That's pretty complex. It's not just sticking a block of aluminum in a lathe.
Right. And you don't see those wheels actually don't have the lug nuts holding them on. And it's like a cap that goes over it with the wire wheel. They're a true like knockoff holding that shit on, if I'm not mistaken, right? On some of the high end ones. I don't know. Well, let's look up Dayton Wheels, right? Isn't that one of the old school manufacturers? Anyway, that's a Schwanger wheel for you guys. Check out Texas, what was that, spoke wheel manufacturer? Sorry.
Texas Wire Wheels.
Check it out, and that'll be mind-blowing because, that was the first I've heard about it.
Wire wheels.
For grinders? We can see what you're looking at, I like it.
I think that those are just fake.
For $1,500? I don't know. Oh,
yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
That is.
And I think that you actually can true those. Yeah, if you look, they have adjusters. See? Or whatever you call those.
That'd be a nipple?
Yeah, they have them.
Interesting. Do you see the price on these wheels? These are true wire wheels that we're looking up right now because we want to be cultured here, right? We don't want to just be ignorant.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a cultured. And so these are true classic 50 spoke, 13 inches and 17 inches. A 13-inch wheel. In fact, I saw one on a C10. It was like a 13-inch wheel.
Yeah.
And it was like on hydraulics. And it was like this little tiny wheel, like a wheelbarrow wheel with a white wall. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Love it.
Yes. And that looks like legit stuff right there.
Okay. So for an 18 or a 20, they're $1,300 each.
I mean, we're talking bougie shit here. How do you clean that?
What about the gold plated?
Oh, check that out. You gotta have a gold. You know what? No one ever rocks a gold plated wheel in the truck scene, like our truck scene. I think we should bring that in.
One did.
Which one?
That Dodge that I think it was fleece. Remember?
No. In our OBS truck scene.
Oh yeah.
That
I haven't
fleece,
seen one.
That fleece truck, that Dodge, that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was a work of art.
Yeah,
that's a truck that is like that's a show truck.
Gold plating. Let's see.
All gold plating is about a little over $4,000 in 13-inch wheels. Wheel size 14 inches, $4,300, give or take. 15s, $4,500.
And that's just for the gold plating. That's not including the wheel.
Oh, then you have to pay extra though for the knockoffs to be gold plated.
Yeah,
right.
But no, it just shows if you want a fully gold plate,
right,
a set of
these wheels,
16-inch wheels, it's $4,600
on top of the $4,000 wheel, give or take, because some of those wheels are $4,000, $5,000.
Yeah.
So you're gonna pay like rough ballpark $10,000, give or take $9,000. With, can you imagine that gold plated? You're like, oh man, I was driving my lowrider and I went through some shit and I messed up my gold plating.
No, I could not imagine that. That.
What's a lot. What's the process? Because they're a spoked wheel and you want them gold plated. Do they is it individual pieces and they put the spokes together, tighten them up?
I don't know. And then how do you adjust them if they're gold plated?
Right.
Without, because gold's soft.
This is a whole world that we know nothing about.
Yeah. And just talking.
But we should probably buy a set, throw them on a truck and rally and see how they hold up. You just I'm sure Lisa and Trent would be cool with that. Like, hey, what do you guys spend this money on? Nothing. Don't worry about it.
We would actually have to bring in some sort of income.
It'd be freaking awesome. And you video it, just taking these gold wheels and you're out there with a spoke wrench, for dirt bikes. And you're like, hold on a minute. I got to tighten this up. I hit that fucking braking bump too hard. Let me tighten this sucker up here. Dude. I can feel a little wobble going on here. Oh, spokes are loose. Tighten them up.
Yeah. I don't think I could.
Okay. So let's get back to normal wheels. Let's go Battleborn wheels. Cause I want to go through wheel manufacturers that are out there that make cool looking wheels. In my opinion, not that I'm an expert, but Battleborn makes some really cool looking wheels. I think they're out of Reno, if I'm not mistaken. Hence the name.
It's the name.
Well, when you're in Reno, Nevada area, Battleborn's like their signature word or something like that. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
It's something like when we were visiting a friend of ours there, Battleborn's like a thing there, like the term for some reason.
Okay.
I don't understand it, and I could be speaking on my ass here.
They are made in America.
Okay.
Headquarters is Carson City, Nevada.
There you go.
Yeah. As far as wheels go, I'm just a big fan of their styles.
Yeah, they're not gaudy. They're not over the top.
No,
they're not. Pretty simple.
I really like the Sierra.
Yes. Is that what Ryan has?
I think so. Yeah.
And they make them with real beadlocks or simulated, which, interesting enough, they say the ones that are simulated for towing. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Ryan had a little issue there.
That was interesting, but it could have been someone else's fault too. But
they also do they have a hold fast system, which I believe is very similar to
the Methods
bead grip, which, for those that don't know, the bead grip is essentially just they add traction to where the bead is
forced against.
Yeah, is forced against, so you can air down. And I've seen people air down to 2 psi.
Didn't Kenny take his Bronco down to something like that?
He have bead?
He had that
bead
on
grips.
Yeah, on the Methods. He said he took him down 4 or 5 psi.
And yeah, no issues.
Which is awesome because that is I'd rather do that than a beadlock because beadlocks can be temperamental.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I mean that to me. So that's a cool wheel. It's a great manufacturer. I love the parts that are made in the United States. I do know from a friend of ours that ordered a set, they are made to order, I think.
Are they?
I thought that's what Ryan told me. I don't think they keep a lot in stock. But
yeah, I don't know.
The prices, look at that. That's not, that's powder coating. But that's not ungodly for a wheel made in the United States.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you want a non-beadlock, they have these different options here.
That one right there, the Sierra Forged Simulated, that's a pretty cool looking wheel. As spendy. That's a pretty bougie wheel, but that's a That's a badass wheel right
It's
there.
really nice. And then if you get one of their, non-simulated, like $329.
That's not bad.
That's the same price as like a Method.
What's the offset they show there? Oh, you can get them all the way up to 18s.
Oh, and you can get 4 3/4 inch backspacing. That's
not bad.
nice.
And so when you order wheels from these people, and a lot of people, this is something we've experienced, and so I'm just going to go down this road. What happens is you call these wheel manufacturers, and if it's a newbie on the phone or someone that you got to double check one thing on our OBS Fords. Our hub bore.
Yes.
That's a big one. So if you're running stock OBS axles, like obviously 3/4 ton and 1 ton, our bolt pattern is 8 on 6.5, right?
Yep.
But Dodge uses that as well.
Right.
Now,
and doesn't Dodge have a larger hub bore?
Or smaller? Which one was it? Because we have to. It's usually smaller. That's why OBS Fords. If you buy a Dodge wheel, like an older school Dodge wheel, and you put it on a OBS Ford. I've seen this happen too, by the way. This is a little knowledge that we've learned the hard way from customers' experiences. A Ford wheel, the hub bore is bigger. And so what happens is you order a set of wheels or you get them off a marketplace and it says 8 on 170. You're like, sweet, this
8
wheel.
on 6.5.
Or 8 and 6.5, thank you. And you're like, sweet, this is 8 on 6.5 bolt pattern. Awesome. And what happens is people put them on there, but the Dodge hub bore is smaller. So it doesn't exactly sit over that hub of a Ford.
But it's close.
But it's close enough, right? And you're like, yes, I got it. And then they go out and drive it. And then what happens is the wheel works loose because the wheel isn't up against that
right.
flange of the drum or the disc or the hub, right?
Yep.
And so then they drive it. Well, then it starts breaking lug nuts, the wheel comes loose. It damages the wheel, the cone of the wheel where the lug nut seats. There's a whole thing there, people. So you have to make sure that if you're buying an aftermarket wheel off of a website, or if it's a good looking wheel on that truck, if you're buying it off of the marketplace or Craigslist, which some people still use Craigslist, make sure that the hub bore is the right one for your truck, for our OBS Fords. I don't have that number. God, I wish I did.
Let me see if I can find that real quick.
Enhance. That's a big deal. So we've learned that the hard way from we actually caught it on a new set of wheels that we order for customer. We always check, so it's a real easy thing to do is we'll actually take, if you can't get behind the wheel and look at it, what's an easy way to do it is you take a little bit of grease, you put it on the back of the wheel, just a thin layer, you bolt it up there and make sure that and then pull the wheel off, make sure it shows the grease, shows a imprint of it making contact with the back of that, either the drum in the rear or the front hub / disc assembly in the front.
Yeah.
That's a real simple way to do that, if you worry about it. Because what happens is the Dodge hub bore being just a slightly smaller off, when you physically look at it, you're like, oh, this wheel looks like it mounts up. It's so minute, it's hard to see. It's really, I think that's why people get in trouble with it. So I would always tell people when you go to buy new wheels off of a website or whatever, make sure you call the manufacturer or the supplier and double check, or maybe it says it on the wheel specs, what that hub bore is for the 8 on 6.5.
So what I'm finding here is the Dodge.
And say right there, this could be a whole, spend hours trying to, maybe we can find it simple.
I found the Ford one. I'm just trying to find for comparison's sake. Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow.
There's a lot of info
detailed.
Here. Dang. Gives you
get out of the Chargers.
Your Section 8 Lamborghinis. Your Magna. Oh, wow. I've always wanted to know the hub bore of a Dodge Neon.
Ram pickup.
There you go.
2,500.
Okay. Center bore right there.
Is 120.9 millimeters.
Okay.
And the hub bore on an OBS is 123.9.
That's not much.
So, yeah, we're 3 millimeter difference.
That's just enough to cause fuckery.
Very much so.
Yeah, and then that's a bad day when the wheel comes off where you start breaking lug nuts or lug studs and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Ford, you are correct, has a bigger hub bore and 4.88 inches or essentially 124 mil.
Usually our aftermarket wheels, unless they're made really cheap, they're 99% of the time of the hub bore will always be bigger.
Yeah.
We find that because your hub bore your wheel's not relying on that to center up. It's the cone of the lug nut. In some cases, now
these are lug centric.
Exactly, lug centric. Now other wheels, newer trucks aren't doing that.
No.
They're using the hub bore on like our Super Duties and stuff like that. So you got to kind of be careful with that stuff. Normally, though, when you buy an aftermarket wheel, they switch from a hub eccentric wheel to mount up to a cone style lug centric.
Really?
Usually, yeah. A lot of the wheels will do that. They'll go to a cone.
Interesting. Okay.
That's why you don't see a lot of welds when you see like an old weld wheel, even if it was for the '90s era trucks.
Like
they're always cone. They always have a cone for your lug nuts to seat.
Well, yeah, because these trucks, the 8 on 6.5 trucks were lug centric.
Right. What I'm saying, like if you see welds that were made for the 2000 eras,
yes,
where those were hub centrics,
yep,
you'll always see them coned. Like there'll always be that way.
Which is something to note. You can't run the same lug nuts.
Yes,
because a hub centric uses basically a lug nut with a washer on it.
It's flat.
That's flat.
Right.
And so it's using that center bore of the hub to keep the wheel like perfectly positioned on the center, where a lug centric uses tapered holes and tapered lug nuts to center the wheel on the hub with lug nuts.
Correct.
And if you get those mixed up,
that's not going to work.
Or you're going to think that you have unbalanced wheels or something,
or it's going to come off,
because it's not going to drive right. You're essentially like have a circle that's oblong.
So this is what we've experienced with the world of like our old Fords, right? Because everything modern nowadays, I think, is pretty standard. But our old Fords have some goofiness when it comes to this shit, right?
Yeah, no, they do. I mean, or they're almost easier in that sense.
True.
You just want to make sure that you have the correct lug nuts and wheels together.
So that being spoken, there's another wheel manufacturer I want to check out. Innovate Wheels.
Innovate.
Yeah. They make some high-end bougie shit, but it's like really cool looking. I've never seen one like really getting rallied out in the desert or up in the mud and stuff because I think they cost too much.
Okay.
They make UTV wheels now. Interesting.
Dude, the UTV world.
Oh, I know. Look at this stuff.
Wow.
Right.
Wow, yeah. This is well out of my price range.
that's $1,600 per wheel.
I want to see. Does it price is for each wheel? This is just a standard 20 by 9 8-lug bead lock.
It's a true bead lock, yeah.
True bead lock.
And I think they anodize all their stuff. I don't know if it's raw, if you can get it just in a raw polished or non-polished. Yeah, for black powder coating, please specify satin semi-gloss or gloss black when checking out. Looks like, show there, disclaimer, bead locks are for off-road use only. Have a max tire pressure of 25 PSI. Interesting.
Yeah.
Plot twist. Should never be driven on the street or used for towing or hauling.
Interesting.
Ryan, I think we're talking about you.
But these are $1,689 per wheel.
I wouldn't even take those out and bash them out in the desert or up in the woods.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy a beadlock for that.
Okay, go to Simulate. Yeah, go to Simulate. Maybe the price comes down for Simulate.
They've got to. Okay.
I mean, that's not horrible.
There's still 800. Oh, then as we go down, they climb.
We're getting to the expensive stuff now. I don't know about that star pattern, but that one to the far right, the G600 series simulated beadlock, that's not a bad looking wheel.
That does look good. And I think you can just like pick all of your colors. They just happen to show them in gold. But yeah,
that's a good looking wheel.
$1,000 a wheel.
That's not a bad looking wheel though, but $1,000, that's a good looking wheel. The G500, that's pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
I wonder if their offsets are, and they probably don't do anything like 10 wide. It's probably all like narrow stuff.
Let's see, the G500 simulator.
Yeah, they're 9 wides.
Ring style.
Oh.
Standard or tech light.
I don't even know what that means, but okay.
Finish machined.
I mean, that's a good looking wheel.
It looks really good. 8 on 6.5. Back spacing or offset. Let's go 4.5.
So it's going to stick out a little bit. We got a little poke there.
18, yeah.
Yeah. Design. I mean, that's a wheel that you don't see a lot of.
Yeah, because they're $1,100 each.
Well, that is a thing. But look, you can't see what's the towing was available in raw, machined, or anodized finishes. 35 pounds.
3,600-pound load rating.
Yeah, and then what's the tire pressure you can rock on those things? Probably, obviously.
I think standard.
Look at lead time. So they're made to order, 6 to 12 weeks lead time.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a weight.
That is. I mean, the quality appears to be just absolutely top notch.
I heard a rumor
from
a very reliable source that this company that makes these, pretty sure it's this company, might be doing an Alcoa 17 Alcoa lookalike, like an OBS Ford Alcoa, that is a 17 on 8 on 6.5 and 8 on 170.
So it's gonna look like a super single,
like an OG, not a weld super single, but our OG Alcoas that came on our OBS Fords with a little bit with variable offsets to get them kind of a little further out and not so
right.
And probably a 9 wide, not a. I think those are 7.5 or 8s or something like that.
7.5.
Yeah, super lame because people try to put a 37 or 35, and it's just like not liking it.
Big issues,
right,
can happen with that.
Yes, it can. And then, oh, by the way, I heard a good one about our stock Alcoas on our OBS Fords that because of how many times the tire has been taken on and off of them over the years, that outside lip will actually start getting thinner and thinner.
Right.
And you got to watch it for cracking. Heard that one from a very reliable source as well.
So you don't want to be taking wheels and tires off and on too often.
I think the topic of that would be, or what I'm getting at is like old wheels are cool, like our old welds, but you better inspect them when you buy them or you're going to use them, because it'd be a bad day to have a bead blowout when you're rocking on 37s in a lifted truck, or not even
totally.
That. Any type of situation is going to suck. But that's why I think old wheels, I love them. Trust me, I'm a weld geek. I think they're awesome, but there is a place for new wheels. There's a reason why.
Right.
And Alcoa is like, they're everywhere and people are still rocking them. Don't get me wrong, but as time goes on, might be something to keep an eye on.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's what I've been trying to decide on, because I like my weld. I've got the 2 sets of welds, the 17x10 Scorpios and the 17x10 Super Singles. But I don't want to run them in the winter. But I also don't necessarily like the idea of having to buy multiple sets of tires.
Well, if you're Kenny, you have no problem with that. But yes, I agree.
Right. It's like if I could swap the tires,
right,
between wheels, but then you get into are you doing that too often? Are you just wearing down those good classic wheels?
Yeah, I think that's why I always think if I'm going to have something I'm going to use a lot, I would buy an aftermarket, a new wheel for it.
Right.
Then rock a older wheel for reliability. Is kind of there's people out there doing it all day long on stock Alcoas. They're still out there.
Right.
So like I always said, I'm no expert. That's just my opinion. Take it for what it is.
But is it bad to constantly be switching the tires?
I would think it'd be a pain in the ass. I'd just buy another set of tires if you can afford it. And that way you have hey, this is my party set. And this is the work set.
Right.
This is my wintertime set that I rock, drive around the Central Oregon and do Central Oregon things. And this is the set that I throw on in the summertime.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not that difficult. And in the grand scheme of things, it's not a ton of money. And you just don't buy a bunch of Zins and hold off on Dutch Brothers for a while.
I don't go to Dutch Brothers very often.
I know you don't. That's why we talk.
Yeah. I do go through the Rogues a little bit.
The Rogues.
Yeah. They come with more. They're cheaper.
Oh. Is that a coffee stand?
No. Oh. Rogue pouches.
Oh, I have nothing about that. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting learned. I'm getting learned.
Yeah, they're better than Zins, I think. But I mean, they're still not good. But it keeps me from chewing Copenhagen. So, which now I can't even if I try that stuff again, I'm like,
doesn't it give you heartburn?
No.
No. That's because you grew up on a sailboat and you're eating tacos and stuff like that. You're just immune to it.
Spicy food was a big part of my upbringing. Yeah.
Yeah. One day we can talk about the sailboat experience.
Sure.
Hey, so wheel stuff, check out Innovate Wheels if you really want to be unique. And like I said, in August, show up to the truck show and set of Innovate Wheels.
Dude, show us some.
You got some time, 6 to 12 week lead time. Make that happen.
Yeah.
Let's check out another wheel manufacturer.
Okay.
JTX, which started out as a simple wheel manufacturer, and they are rapidly growing. I think they trounced American Force.
Yeah,
and they're
American
not,
Force feels like they're kind of out of the game.
They're like the fuel wheel manufacturer, I feel like. Don't get me wrong, there's a place for that stuff, but
they probably got bought.
I believe they are. I think American Force is under that umbrella of Wheel Pros. But these boys aren't. These guys are still like holding strong. The Capo is what Oscar and I and Kenny and Tanner think looks the best, like a weld Cheyenne. Yes. It's a modern day weld Cheyenne. That's the wheel I'd put on the Princess truck.
Okay.
In a 20, no bigger.
In a 20.
Yep. They got some good stuff. They got some stuff that's a little bit different taste. Colin Naylor has the slicer on his
in red.
No, on the brick nose.
Oh, really?
Yes.
And does he really good. Have the brick nose back yet?
Transport shows up next week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Thank God. That's been a nightmare. That's been a big project on that truck.
Yeah.
But then he's bringing the dually's getting shipped to us.
Okay.
Because someone tried to work on it and now it won't run. Right. So now we're dealing with that. So it's coming to us and it does random drive or not. Yeah, it randomly dies, won't restart. It's random, which is going to be awesome to figure out.
Those are my favorite.
I love them. So anyway, that's what's going on. Colin's he's an awesome guy. So, but he picked those slicers and they look really good. I didn't think they looked good, but it's a 22 on a 40. Yeah. I'm going to tell you that truck power wise and how it rides is like a Cadillac with a little bit stiffer suspension. I've never felt a vehicle like we always talk about, like the power wise. It's not like a monster. It's not like the little blue truck where it's a light switch on off rowdiness. It is like this smooth, like power for days. It's a stroked out 520. I think I've said that before. But the power wise, it's interesting and just it's like Ron and I and Oscar. Every time we test drive it, we're working on it. It's like I've never felt anything so smooth and just like not jerk your. I mean, it has tons of power, but it's not like out of control. And you drive it, you're like it's comfortable. Yes, it's still on leaf spring, so it does party a little bit harder in the sense of, drives a little bit, but it's crossover steering, so it steers like a race car. Like there's no play in the steering, there's no vagueness. It's probably the most unique truck I've driven on 40s, hands down.
It's naturally aspirated, right?
Right.
What kind of power?
I think it was making almost 700, 680, something like that.
At the crank?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what Ryan dynoed it at.
That's solid.
But it's not all over the place,
Right.
So it's a really cool truck in that sense. Brick noses have, brick noses are a love and hate relationship with me,
Yep.
But that brick nose is awesome. It's a very cool truck. And it was a low mile truck too.
Yeah.
So
I bet he's excited to get that back.
I think Colin's excited. That guy's such a solid human when it comes to, every time you talk to him, he's always happy. Even if it's like bad news, this or that, no bullshit.
That's good. Those are the people you want.
100%. Now, on the wheel thing, go back to this because we scrolled hard here.
Do you like the crater?
I think the holes are too big. I think they're like, so we had this discussion, right?
Yeah.
Weld super singles in a 15 look amazing compared to a weld super single in a 17 or 18.
I like the 17.
I know, but nothing looks as cool. Like I was talking to Kenny, like nothing looks as cool as a weld super single in a 15, like half ton stuff.
Yeah, the half ton ones do look.
Right, because the holes look the same, like a perfect size for the wheel diameter. It's this whole like visual thing, right?
Yeah.
Where I think that was almost too big a hole for that. But you know what? Everyone's different.
Yeah.
What's this one down here to the right? I haven't seen that wheel. The dime. That's not bad. A little spokey, but actually, Capo Max looks kind of interesting.
That does look pretty good.
That's not bad either.
I like those.
There's some interesting, there's some love or hates on some of they have a lot of different options though.
Yes. They're very blocky.
Yeah. And the lip is like just flat, which I kind of like. No step lip.
I mean, this is the amount of styles and options they have is very impressive.
And when we talk to JTX, they're quick. They're not like, oh, it's going to be like 6 weeks. It's like pretty quick turnaround from when you order to getting a wheel.
They've got to be just machining them in house.
That's not bad. The middle one,
the lock.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
Yeah, not bad.
But these are your like little more bro truck. You're not gonna like rally these out in your neck of the neighborhood, right? This is more of like go up to a show. I worked all weekend polishing them, that kind of stuff. Just a different style.
Yeah, very.
Right? Okay, now we're gonna go to the other side of the aisle.
Okay.
Type in fuel wheels. Let's just see what's out there. Let's just like Let's just hit it and see what's out there, because Fuel does make some decent looking wheels.
They do. Yeah. I mean, wow.
It's a good looking boat.
It is nice. TRX tone of boat.
That means you either have money or you're in super debt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty much one of the two.
I bet a TRX is like 80 grand, 90 grand, probably more, maybe.
No. I'm sure we can.
So like Fuel obviously has their billet wheel, which looks good. It's not terrible, but I've learned from people that the quality of aluminum obviously translates into the quality of shine. So
we go with the cast.
Yeah, let's check it out. Cast wheels. Now see that one right there, the arc in a 20 with that black lip.
Yeah.
That's not like, you could make that work on a truck.
Totally.
Like OBS Ford.
Yeah.
Like if you're like, hey, I'm looking for I want something that looks unique. There's a wheel, people, that looks pretty good.
Right.
Different look.
And the pricing on these is actually still fairly expensive.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think they're like bottom of the barrel, but it kind of gets you a look into some like a wheel that would be very cool, but actual functional. They're not polished wheels in a lot of ways, but that culvert right there, that one to the far right.
Yeah.
That looks like a good off-roady wheel that you could take and like go out in the woods with.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be terrible.
It's just got a lot going on.
It does. It's busy.
All of these wheels are super busy.
That's my favorite wheel right there, the Crush that they make.
Okay.
Because it's like pretty simple. It gives you a deep lip, right? It's not over the top.
I wish they would not do the machined little rivet looking things on the outside.
Like, you know what a guy could do? He could
just mill it off
or paint it.
Yeah.
You could paint those rivets black and you never see them.
Not see them.
Right.
Yeah, I like smooth lips.
Right. I mean, they make a lot of different options for people. That Hostage deep lip. How many trucks have you seen that on all makes and models, right? And you never see them have problems in the sense of like you never see them cracked out or problems.
No, I think they're sturdy for sure.
And I just think there's a wheel for everyone's taste and budget.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's not a bad look. That's something you put on your Toyota or something, right? The
Nitro.
The Nitro. I mean, that would go on something like that.
Yeah.
Or the Piston or any of that shit. I just thought, you know what? Talking about wheels today, go from high to low, right? We went from like spinners and donks or whatever schwangers that were gold plated to Fuel wheels that.
Yeah, you can go both ways on the fuels. I'm curious now that we've talked about this, is if we can see what Wheel Pros owns. Oh my gosh. It's a lot.
That's a lot.
Black Rhino, American Force, American Racing, Asante, Foose, Dub, Fuel, KMC.
There's a lot.
Dude, they
own a lot.
Morimoto, Moto Metal, American Racing, Rotiform. I had a set of Rotiforms.
Did you?
Not on a truck. TSW.
US Mag.
US Mag.
US Mags make some cool stuff, by the way.
They do.
They make some really cool stuff.
XD.
Ugh. Actually, I got a set of those on the Super Duty because it was during COVID. It's the only wheel we could find.
Oh, yeah.
Remember COVID? You couldn't get wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's kind of crazy how much they own. Black Rhino wheels are not.
They're not terrible.
They're not terrible.
No,
they're kind of like.
They started off making some goofy designs.
Yeah, they're like your cheaper wheels, but they are not they're not that bad.
No.
I've got a buddy that has a set and he really likes them.
I always when I think of Black Rhinos, for some reason I think of Sprinter vans because you see all the Sprinter vans running around with Black Rhinos. And they're always that one that has almost like a military look, right? And you're
this one, the Armory.
Yeah, you're like, dude, it's a fucking Sprinter van. You don't need to have like a military looking wheel. There's other options out there.
They look like Hummer wheels.
Yes, exactly. But yet some of those wheels don't look that bad. I mean, for like Toyota stuff or
yeah,
I don't know if I'd fit on an OBS, but maybe they would in the sense of looks.
Yeah, you just have to have the right one.
Yeah, I agree.
It is crazy how doesn't Wheel Pros also own a bunch of companies that aren't wheel manufacturers?
I think so. Yes, they do. I can't remember what it is. Like that one right there, that Prim, that mimics. There's another manufacturer has a wheel a lot like that, but that's not a bad looking wheel.
No, it's not. No, I think my buddy has these.
So that's a
Prim
raw. Okay, so it's a raw aluminum look though, which is cool.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that anymore. Either they're powder coated or anodized.
No, and they look really good.
Real quick, type in weld wheels because let's see what it shows for still.
I mean, weld wheels are still around.
Yes, they are, and you can still get like truck wheels, right? They weld's been passed over or been sold, bought, sold. That's a cool. Been sold and bought multiple times. I don't know who owns them now, but I know if you go to wheels,
it's not letting me click on anything.
Really? Maybe they shut down. That's it.
Wheels.
Truck and off road.
Oh. Shop by size
or drag truck, street truck. Yes.
Let's do 8 on 6.5.
Works for me. It says nothing.
No,
it's working.
It says there's 3,866 products.
Interesting.
Filters. Maybe
it's just
they have a crappy website.
Or it's being worked on. There you go.
Back.
Well, I mean, look at these pictures though. That right there, that C10, that's a good looking wheel.
Yes. Off road.
Sure.
Do we want to look at those?
Yeah, check those out. Okay, there we go. So they're making cast wheels now. That's right. I forgot about that. But they're not bad looking.
No.
And the price wise, they're like cast wheels from fuel and stuff like that.
Okay. Let's see.
What about forged truck? There you go. Forged truck wheels right there. Let's look at these guys because this is a throwback to the old school stuff, right? Like
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne's hard not to like. That Cheyenne XT is pretty cool.
Yeah, with the clean lip.
Yeah, that's a good looking wheel. And like all their wheels like look clean. There isn't a lot of gaudiness to them. I know there's a super single in there. They brought back the super single, and I just don't know if it looks the same.
Super single XT.
Where? Yep, right there.
Super single 3.
Yep. Click on that bad boy. That's a spicy wheel.
And it's expensive.
It is, but it looks pretty good.
It does look pretty dang good.
Yeah.
I don't like the cheesy center cap, though.
It's probably not aluminum. It's probably plastic, I would assume.
Probably is.
Which sucks.
Back. Now available polished or gloss black. Available in 20, 22, and 24.
Well, there's some info on wheels.
Yeah.
So,
it's a bummer they only come in 20s.
Right, you can't get a 17.
Yeah, or an 18.
What was the manufacturer that's making a wheel that's 17s? What is that? Man, I cannot remember. I wish I had Oscar Tanner here.
Like that's custom making essentially.
Yes, and what did they start making? They were making spacers, now they're making wheels, and they're making 17s and 18s. They're making 10 and 12 wides, and like they're making deep, like bringing back that old school. I wish I could remember who that was.
I don't remember. I saw it on like a weld group.
Yes, and like I think either special order, and there's something about a 17-inch wheel looks good.
There is. It's hard to beat 17.
But there's some good. The Toyota right there looks pretty mean, just on a cast wheel.
Old Lexus.
The Lexus looks good, but that right there, that little short wide newer truck.
Yes,
they're so cool.
They are. I love the weld wheels like in the drag racing scene. They do look really, really good.
They do. Well, hey, we're almost out of time.
We are.
So we better wrap this up. We don't hit Marketplace, but we'll hit it hard next time.
Yeah.
There's a whole show on wheels and other crap. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, wheels are great. It's good to I like wheels a lot.
I do too. Yes, they seem to help our vehicle go from point A to point B.
I know. They're dumb. But they're also it's like one of those things, it's like, oh, you bought wheels just for looks.
Yep. Well, what?
Yeah, I guess there's also utility there, depending. But
we have a little bit of tism when it comes to that though. We could hit Marketplaces 1 or 2.
Yeah, let's save it for next time.
All right. Well, there you go, people. I hope you enjoyed this show. It wasn't very exciting, but you know what? John and I just talked about wheels, and I don't know, we kind of geek out on that shit all the time.
Yeah, totally.
All right. John?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. Anytime. I think this is a good podcast. You guys are listening to the Truckery podcast. Please share with your friends or anybody you think might be interested, because we are actually trying to make this thing. And
well, we've been doing it as an excuse just to hang out and shoot the shit, but the wives are like, hey, this is like wasting a bunch of time and money, so you guys need to start actually doing something with it.
Yeah, it'd be nice if it broke even at some point.
Yeah, I mean, we do pay for someone to cut it up and produce it, so there is that. But we're trying to make it a thing, like we said before, and like I said, it's just a good excuse for us to shoot the shit about truck stuff or whatever stuff, and we're just we're trying to hide it from the wives, basically.
We got some exciting content ideas that could be more than just podcasting, like doing some video stuff that would be pretty fun.
Only in the spring and summer though, because the winters here get a little bit treacherous to deal with stuff. So
next winter we could do an episode on tracks.
That's true. Okay. Well, for that one, we'll go there. But anyway, I'm your host, Dev with OBS Solutions.
I'm your other host, John with Carrot Customs, and we will talk to you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.